Hello, and welcome to another Limitless Hair Expert video. My name is Dino, and these video series are hair expertise combined with self-improvement. And today's video is the hair elevation story. Now, to tell you a quick story about this situation of me being in hair, 1975, I was a licensed hairdresser, and about 1982, started losing my hair. All right, just where it started becoming noticeable. Now, what I did at that time, I fought it. I said to myself, it's not going without a fight. That was my sort of motto, okay? What I did then, I studied everything humanly possible. I looked in magazines. I subscribed to magazines. I got everything I could on anything that would help maintain or keep my hair. It wasn't going without a fight, okay? Now, that made me very knowledgeable because I understood all these different things about hair growth, why hair falls out. And that was back in about 1982. And at that time, biotin was very dominant at that time, saying it'll grow your hair. But I studied nutrition and everything. And even back then, they always said, about 5 years they're going to have a cure, even back then. So 10 years later, they still said 5 years they're going to have another cure. And it just kept perpetuating over and over and over like this. So I kept working on ways to keep my hair, right? So I want to connect with people here because I really understand what people go through when they lose their hair. Because now I didn't admit that it bothered me. I was sort of macho about it. So if somebody says, does it bother you? I said, no, not me. It doesn't bother me. I'll just cut my hair short. But actually, it really did bother me. And I fought it for years, okay? Did everything possible. Matter of fact, something interesting, I never looked at the crown of my head for 1 full year because I was afraid to. And when I looked at it, I was shocked because it was getting extra thin there. But I wouldn't look at it for a year. So I tried everything to try to. Now, I don't know if I was able to slow it down or not. Who knows? I seen little fuzzes. I couldn't tell if they were leaving or coming in at all. I hung upside down. They had gravity boots at the time where you do a pull-up and you hook up your feet upside down. You hang upside down. I did sit-ups on a sit-up bench and hanged on an incline to put more blood to my head. Then my mom actually gave me something. This is way back in about 1982. Something really interesting I want to show everybody here. She gave me this box, and it said on it, for son Dino, P.S. I love you. This should help a lot of people. Believe me, it can get a lot of great results. So watch this thing, just to show you. This here, unique contraption. I want to show it to you. You take this, it's a rake. You put the rake in like this, all right? You plug it in like this. And then watch. You turn this thing on. Sparks fly. And look, you touch it. I don't know if you can see this. And it hurts a little bit. Look. And it has higher power. And what it does, it's supposed to stimulate. I'm going to shut it off now. But what it does, it's supposed to stimulate your scalp. Did it? Yeah, it stimulated my scalp. I did it every day. My hair smelled a little burnt a little bit. It had that little burnt smell to it. But did it stimulate the scalp? Yeah. Did it do anything? I don't know. That's the things that happen in life when you're trying to grow your hair. It's very difficult at times to see if it's doing something, if it's slowing it down or not. But I did try everything humanly possible. And eventually, I did keep losing hair. And now, understand something. I was in the field of being a hairdresser and also in the field of adding hair. When I say adding hair, meaning anything to do with hair weaves, hair extensions, hair systems of any sorts. You know, back then they even had hair units or hair pieces, wigs, all of that stuff. So I was in that industry. So then eventually, as I started losing more and more hair, not letting anyone know it bothered me, I started making myself something. and I started adding hair in a very subtle way. And what I did, I had to creep into it. So what I did by creeping into it, while I was in the hair studio / salon, I would add a little hair and then wear the hair while I was at work. And then when I left to go home, I would remove it because I didn't have enough nerve to walk outside. So then eventually I'd wear the hair, get in the car and drive home. As soon as I got home, I would remove it. It was something I made that was, you can apply and remove, okay? And I didn't want anyone to notice. So I made something very subtle myself from scratch. And that's why only wore it at work. Then before you know it, I wore it at work and drove home with it. As soon as I got home, I removed it. Then before you know it, wore it at work, drove home with it, kept it on until the pajamas came on, okay? To eventually I eased into it, okay? Until eventually I got used to it. So why do I tell you this? I tell you this because I really connect. I understand. You have to have gone through this to understand what people go through when they lose their hair. Both men and women, all right? There's a lot of men that get very upset about it, and it's not them not to have hair. And I do understand with women that it's even worse, because with women it's not acceptable. So I do connect with people. That's why I'm telling you this story. I very deeply connect with people, what they go through, and the difficult transition that it is, all right? And in one of my future videos, I'm going to talk about how to create a very subtle transformation. That's in a couple more videos from now, because that's how you get used to it. You got to do stuff that's safe, and you have to do stuff that's very slow, easing into it. That's why I told you that whole story, okay? So eventually, what happened to me as the years went by, I eventually lost all my hair. That's me, if you could see that, okay? Eventually lost all my hair, and then I eventually created this revolutionary concept called hair stranding, which you can see on our videos. And hair stranding is something that I invented from scratch, really connecting with people. And people would ask me, oh, is that why you invented it? I didn't invent it for myself. You might say it intensified me to dig into it and to invent something, but I really connected with people, and I felt really bad people going through hair loss. So I really invented the hair stranding really to help the mass public. And of course, myself too, and it intensified it being in the same situation. So that's my story of the hair elevation story. So our quote for today is, don't do things in priority, but what you believe is a priority that counts. What does that mean? Everything in life has a priority. We're all very busy. We have tons of things to do. And the way to be able to handle everything is to prioritize stuff. And when you prioritize stuff, you really should prioritize what you believe you want to get done first. So always do your priorities in what you believe is a priority, not what other people tell you what is a priority. Okay? So that's our quote for today. And stay tuned for our next video. The next video is going to be about when does your hair mature and what happens after that. And I'll see you soon.